The week of Thanksgiving is usually such a happy time. People are excited for a few days off and, of course, lots of good food. But for Kaitlyn Amos, the days before Turkey Day in 2018 were very different. She was anxiously hoping for news about an organ transplant, and then it came.
It's like almost like the movie, you get a phone call from your hospital phone, and they say, "We've got a heart for you."
Kaitlyn was this close to receiving a new heart, but there was a catch. The vital organ was considered high risk.
High-risk hearts are just hearts that they don't maybe have full data on, but it's not really that risky or they wouldn't offer it.
So Kaitlyn said yes.
You still don't say no to those things. So I'm totally prepped. We told everyone about it. And then I have the doctor come in and tell me that I'm not going to get that heart because it's not, safe to give to me. I had this whole dry run in a lot of ways that was incredibly emotional and confusing. And just I didn't really know what to expect or what to do with that.
It turned out to be a blessing in disguise and ultimately a Thanksgiving miracle. But it wasn't her first.
This is the Big Stories Podcast, where we tell the amazing and inspiring stories from across the Big 12 Conference.
I'm your host, Cleon Wall. Kaitlyn Amos has seen some pretty amazing things along her health journey.
If I say two things about my life is that everything has sort of just been these interconnected sort of provisions, and then that people have been the sort of support or means to continuing to get to choose life.
In this episode, we tell the story of the marvels that have sustained this former Baylor soccer player and the people who've helped her through it all. So let's dive in.
I would hate when friends or family, if they came over to visit or came to our house, I would hate when they left. And so I would wave them off from our driveway, and then I would sprint to race their car down the street. And then I sort of developed this habit of racing against any car that would run down our street. And so I had this sort of a genuine love to be active and physical and strong and go fast.
That makes sense since Kaitlyn comes from a very athletic family. Her dad played tennis at the University of Oklahoma.
So he's kind of, big Boomer Senior fan. My mom was a gymnast all the way up into college and then coached, and now she's a gymnastics judge.
Kaitlyn played all kinds of sports, but soccer ended up being her favorite. She got to run a lot more than in tennis or gymnastics, and she liked being part of a team that could lighten the load.
Tennis and gymnastics, even though there's a team element, were so much solo or isolated sports in that way, or individual, and that was a lot less. I'm so motivated by teammates, and so I think the soccer sort of taking the cake in that was affirmed by my family and really supported in a lot of ways.
She was an amazing soccer player.
Maegan Moore is Kaitlyn's cousin, and they've always been tight.
I always thought when people talked about their cousins, they were talking about their best friends.
Even when they lived in different states, the dynamic duo still saw each other about twice a year.
Our moms would send us kind of to each other's houses in the summer. They had a trampoline and a pool and a play set and just a big yard, and it was just kind of, magic territory for young kids.
For a few years, Kaitlyn and Maegan both lived in Waco, Texas, where they played soccer together.
Her nickname on the team was Taz, which was short for Tasmanian Devil, because she literally just ran around the field all the time. She was just everywhere all the time. I'm sure she had a position, but she was just kind of never, Energizer Bunny, never ran out of steam. And and she was, it was so fun to play with her and watch her play.
I had more developed foot skills. I was really, really quick with the ball, really quick touches, and could maneuver around people really, really well. I sort of prided myself on being able to set up teammates with through balls or runs to assist goals or build toward a goal in that way.
When she wasn't playing the beautiful game, Kaitlyn was usually at Baylor cheering on the soccer team.
It just was really accessible. You could be a ball girl at the game. There wasn't a fence around it. And I've always been somebody that's really kind of wants to have deep roots and loyal to my people and my town. And so I think there's also something about it being, central to Waco that I was it would be so cool to get to like play here and not have to go somewhere else.
That's what led her to commit to playing soccer for the Bears in her junior year of high school.
The summer before I started my freshman year at Baylor, I was playing my last tournament with my club team. We were down in Houston, and I actually I got knocked down by a girl like trying to get the ball, and I broke my clavicle. And so I just had to sit for like 6 to 8 weeks that summer when I was supposed to be training.
Kaitlyn wasn't cleared to play until the first day of practice, which left her trying to catch up with the rest of the team.
I barely played, maybe went in, for 5 minutes every now and then. But I kept attributing that to the fact that I was a freshman on this big team with really talented individuals and athletes, and I had come in so unfit, so deconditioned.
So when the season wrapped up, she didn't waste any time. She went into overdrive, training like the Tasmanian devil her cousin said she was.
But I remember we all got back after Christmas break and we were going to go on some runs, and I was just I knew in my head I was going to be fine. And then I was dragging behind these girls that hadn't trained at all. And so that was like one of these first sort of moments of recognition that something was off.
Kaitlyn always seemed to land on the losing team in scrimmages, and that just meant more running.
There was a lot of insecurity and shame that came from that because I couldn't really figure out what was going on.
She tried different diets and sought out opinions from a range of doctors. That fall, Kaitlyn began seeing a cardiologist. And just a day before a Friday night soccer game, she received some heart-stopping news.
That's when they told me that I had this dilated cardiomyopathy and the risk of it, and that I needed to stop playing soccer. And so I think both my mom and I were kind of in denial. And so we asked a lot of questions, listened well, and then we left basically saying we're going to get some other opinions before I just throw in my entire career.
The Baylor coaches and players didn't know a thing about her diagnosis, and Kaitlyn kept it to herself going into the following day's match.
And then in that game, I remember getting called up to play, to sub in just after 10 minutes of the first half. I'm having all these conflicting feelings, but I'm mostly just so ecstatic. It feels like this breakthrough, or this I'm just finally getting to do this thing, even though I've been given this I don't even know what to think about the diagnosis. And so I get into the game, I'm going as hard as I can, and probably 8 minutes in, a girl collides with me and I tear my ACL.
She was now officially done with soccer.
Which is horrible, emotionally, psychologically, physically.
But that's where the first miracle comes in. A torn ACL gave her the time and space to seek out more opinions about her heart. And every doctor told her the same thing. She needed to stop playing soccer due to dilated cardiomyopathy.
So my heart muscle was dilating, sort of getting bigger and getting weaker. It's synonymous with saying I had heart failure. So I had young onset heart failure.
Even though her playing days were over, a second miracle came from Baylor's new soccer coach, Marcy Miller-Jobson. She kept Kaitlyn on scholarship and found other ways for her to stay involved with the team.
It was part of a season that I was taking stats. Other times I was playing more of sort of just a water girl. But all of that was this kind of weird haphazard, what role can we give Kaitlyn to keep her around? And it evolved into, it's funny for me to say this. It's not like chaplain, in that I was, it was not qualified to be a chaplain, but I started giving pregame talks basically, and sort of and fostering little small groups. And those ended up being my sweet spot.
Give us an idea of what you would say to your team.
A lot of it was probably taking things I was grappling with, brain fog, where you sort of shut down. You have a little bit of a you're maybe overwhelmed by performance anxiety, or maybe you make a mistake. It was usually somewhere around that this sort of invitation to just leave it on the field, to sort of show up and enjoy the fact that they have bodies that help them do this, and that they get to play soccer for this moment in time.
Was that hard for you? Because you're telling them, enjoy this time right now.
Yeah.
At the same time, you can't do that.
Yeah, I think it was hard. For sure it was hard, but maybe not in real time as hard, because I felt still I was participating in that and learning about it in some ways.
Kaitlyn, my whole life has been others-oriented, and so not surprising at all that was sort of her role in the team.
Kaitlyn kept playing intramural sports during her last few years of college. She wasn't overdoing it, but still she tore her ACL again. She also had an internal defibrillator placed in her body.
When your heart is that weak, it's susceptible to developing like dangerous arrhythmias. And that's the kind of stuff that puts you at risk for like sudden death. And so I had that defibrillator as like a safety net.
Kaitlyn and Maegan studied abroad in Italy after graduating from Baylor and later moved to Charlottesville, Virginia for a post-grad opportunity. Through it all, Kaitlyn was still learning how to adjust to her new normal.
This sort of tension or contradiction inside myself of my body, again, otherwise being very healthy and strong, but my cardiovascular system being so weak. So I would say instead of playing adult pickup soccer, I started like organized pickup soccer for kids at the Boys and Girls Club.
You know, all the things that bring Kaitlyn life are physical. That's how she connects with people. That's how she releases stress. It's like all of that. And so I think as her body was failing her in those years, or as her heart was kind of like beginning to decline, and she was slowly losing all of those outlets, that was like, yes, just such a gradual grief and such a gradual releasing.
Around like 2014, 2015, my heart was weakening even more in a way that like I was limited in my, shortness of breath or stamina or even just sort of cognitive capacity.
Around that same time, Kaitlyn found her next miracle. His name was Matt Thomas, a genetic counselor at UVA Health.
That is somebody that talks about your family history and can send you to genetic testing to try to understand what's causing things like early onset heart failure. We still haven't actually figured out the genetic variant that's causing my heart failure or caused my heart failure. My experience with him was just like, it was just really great. I mean, he engaged my family and cared for me, explained things really well. I was really taken by his career, and the nature of a genetic counseling appointment is sort of one and done. I followed up with him just as like a person and asked if I could like learn more about his career. I was asking him questions. He was asking me some questions. And he was like, you'll be a great genetic counselor if that's what you want to do.
Matt told her he was in the process of getting funding for an assistant or an intern.
And so he ended up creating that position, letting me know about it, and I ended up working for him. So from 2016, 2018, I'm sort of shifting my life.
Kaitlyn not only worked for Matt, but also went back to community college, knocking out the classes she needed to apply to grad school and become a genetic counselor.
It's this weird thing that I'm like, probably without even knowing it, I'm choosing like more and more life, even though I'm like declining a lot.
Right as she was preparing to begin grad school at the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston, Kaitlyn's condition suddenly got much worse.
I started having like a lot of dangerous arrhythmias. My defibrillator ironically kind of broke at the time. And so it just like things sort of started crumbling fast. And so from like October on, I was like in and out of the hospital for lots of different things.
Now the search was on for a new heart.
I was listed at the beginning of November, hooked up to a pump, was in the ICU, thought I was going to be there for like months and months and months, and ended up just being there for 3 weeks before I got a call to get a heart.
Right before her big surgery, which was scheduled for the day before Thanksgiving, Kaitlyn's entire family showed up to support her.
And the very last evaluation they did on this organ that they were going to give me, it's like a catheterization, the like pressures didn't check out, and they didn't clear in the way they need to.
So Kaitlyn's doctors decided to call off the surgery.
In a lot of ways, it was incredibly emotional and confusing. I was really, really depressed after I didn't get this heart.
But after that, the miracles started coming one after another.
The next day was Thursday, Thanksgiving of 2018. And that was like a really sweet experience because all my siblings, like my parents, everyone came to the ICU. We just like did Thanksgiving like there. And my brother's like, passed out on the couch and like I just remember being so grateful to like get to spend that time with my family.
Kaitlyn also started bracing herself for what might be a long wait for another heart.
I had like a little pump up song I would play. I would like do laps in the ICU. I had to push this like pump thing, but I was trying to do everything I could to be as like strong as possible. And then the next Tuesday, got another call, not expected at all, got another call. This time it wasn't a high risk heart, kind of same thing, phone call. They say I have a heart for you. I say, yeah, I want it. My parents were in town. They were, they were the last ones in the room with me. That's what I remember. And we were sort of just talking and trying to be normal before I got out of a heart transplant, and said bye to them. I was really scared, of course. And I don't know, some anesthesiologist being really kind and like validating that. Of course, I was scared. And that was like the last thing I remember. when I was finally kind of coming to consciousness, and like everything's kind of foggy when I'm opening and blurry when I open my eyes. But I remember seeing my dad in the room, and that was like really emotional for me. And then I remember being like, it's weird. Like I thought maybe it would take me a minute to sort of figure out where I was, but it was just like, I just knew. I was like, oh, I made it. Like I'm alive. Like I'm on this side of things.
Kaitlyn was released from the hospital just before Christmas. She moved into a small grad school apartment, one that happened to be very close to the hospital in Houston, where she received her transplant.
For the first 6 months, I had to have people with me all the time. I don't have a spouse and I'm a partner. And so it was like crazy. Like I would have someone from Charlottesville be there for a week and then another person be there for 2 weeks. And that is to just make sure I have someone with me, monitoring me.
Her cousin Maegan even flew in from New York to spend time with her.
Her body was like accepting this new heart, and that felt like miraculous and amazing. But then the recovery was hard, and it was like hard to watch her be in that space.
I was really fortunate, and I didn't have any like significant rejections. I didn't have any significant infections. And so had these like just lovely people stay with me through all of that. And by that fall of 2019, I was going back to school.
Kaitlyn finished her Master of Science degree in December 2020.
Like in basically like 3 years, got a new degree and a new heart, and never would have thought that was going to be the story.
Not long after graduating, she began working as a genetic health counselor for Duke Health in Durham, North Carolina. Then came the next miracle. She heard from her former colleague, Matt Thomas, who asked if she'd be interested in joining him back at UVA Health in Charlottesville.
I remember thinking, was it'd be so cool if I got to work with Matt someday. And so when that became an option, I jumped at it and moved back to Charlottesville in fall of 2024. Matt and I are close, but like he's not like my best friend. You know, it's not like he's not my peer. It's I think it's just in all the different roles he's played in my life as a provider, as a boss, as a supervisor, as a mentor, as a friend, as a neighbor, as a colleague. Like there's so many different roles, but like the through line is his support and advocacy and like desire that I get to like move toward what I want to do.
What she wants now is to be that kind of miracle for others going through what she went through.
A young guy that I met when I was at Duke who was diagnosed with heart failure like in his college years, which is such a hard time. And he was really, really upset and affected by that, of course. And so I remember in that appointment that I was meeting with him, he sort of checked all the boxes that I needed to as a genetic counselor. And then I kind of said, like, I'm not your clinician right now. I am like patient to patient. Here's a little bit of my story. If you would if it's helpful to you, if that matters to you, if you want to have more conversation, like here's my information, you can get in touch. And not as a patient provider, as a patient to patient, we can meet, for coffee and talk about that. And he took me up on that. And so we developed this like really sweet friendship.
I think Kaitlyn's ability to hold space for people, because she's been able to do that for herself, is amazing. She just creates safety for people. Grief has softened Kaitlyn's heart in a way that makes her so safe and inviting for people. And that's now expressing in her career, which is like so beautiful, such a beautiful thread of her life.
When I asked Kaitlyn if she recognized all the miracles we've shared in this episode, she said she did.
It just is so crazy to me. It's overwhelming and it continues to build. So being in the right place at the right time for a match, for my heart, I could do this all day long, but it's like, it is overwhelming and lots of like chills. And that is a huge part of that. And there's a million other, the tear of the ACL protecting my body. And there's so many layers of it. So if you had 7 more hours, I would tell you more, but that is a great recognition if that's what you hear, because that is, I have no doubt that I've been held and loved. I also have a really strong faith. And so that the intricacy of that experience over and over and over again is probably why I feel like even if I wanted to, would not be able to leave this understanding.
This episode was produced by Brandon Thorpe, with music and sound design provided by Jimmy Call and the BYU Radio Post-Production Department. Make sure you check out BYU TV's Big Stories by logging on to BYUSN.com or by going to the Big Stories YouTube page. I'm Cleon Wall, and Big Stories is a production of BYU Radio.